And hello, fellow aviators. V Rev Summer here. Welcome to leg 6 of this virtual simulation of the United Airlines Island Hopper. This is the final leg of the series. We'll be flying from the island of Chuuk up to Guam to complete this leg. And from Guam, you can continue straight back to Honolulu, or you can hop right back through the islands. But I don't know, it's been fun up to this point. Looking forward to leg 6 today. I think it's going to be another exciting flight for us, and the weather is beautiful here in Chuuk, as you can see. It's pretty stormy when we came in the other evening. If you haven't checked out that replay of that stream, I certainly would encourage it. It was a fun approach, an NDB approach in, and got to experience why you're always monitoring the automation, because we had to kick it off for a bit because it will do exactly what you program it to do. All right, well, without further ado, let's hop into the aircraft. I'm going to go ahead and get us there into the cockpit, and we'll brief up the flight really quickly with our release and move on, get in the air and get the action started. So first things first, we already have our passengers on board. They've all gotten on. Also, our fuel is loaded at 15,800 pounds. So here, let me pull up our release for you all. I think you all will be able to see it today. I think I have it to where you all can see the release with me, which would be phenomenal. 1 second. There we go. All right, so here is our release. I'm using SimBrief today, and as you can see, we're looking good with the flight here is from Chuuk to Guam, and obviously crew names are all correct. Just mix up names on this thing. For our zero fuel weight, it's 111,949. Takeoff weight's 127,207. So it's below our max landing weight. So we can come back and land back here if we need to. Also, planned gate fuel is 15,758, and we currently have 15,800 on board. So we have plenty of fuel. Min fuel for takeoff is going to be 15,258. So we'll keep an eye on that, make sure that we are at least above that when we take off today, heading up to Guam. We do have something on our minimum equipment list today. There's a 9th stage valve that's failed. I'll show it to you. We discovered it on the way into Chuuk the other evening. Whoops, go to failures. So it is the right 9th stage bleed that has failed. So I pulled up an MEL book for the 737. Here it is, actually. High stage valves, and one may be inoperative locked closed provided a minimum of 60% N1 is maintained on associated engine during flight and icing conditions. And our dispatcher got that here on our release for our MEL item. So MEL stands for minimum equipment list, and this is just the standard minimum equipment list the FAA puts out for the 737, and it's available for free online. You can just search for it, and you can see it has all sorts of different variants from the dash 100 all the way up to the 900 ER. So a pretty cool thing that you can go and kind of look at yourself if you want to, just to kind of get familiar with these minimum equipment lists. But basically what that lets you do is, okay, so we're here in Chuuk. There are not mechanics around that can fix this aircraft for us. So instead of having to fly apart and mechanics in, they were able to just get the valve lock closed, and we just have to make sure we keep at least 60% N1 on the right engine if we're in any icing conditions, which I think the only time we'll reach that will be at climb or cruise, maybe descent. So it shouldn't be much of an issue. I think descent's where that would become most of an issue here flying in the Pacific Islands where it's like a balmy 32 degrees on the surface here. So we're definitely not going to have icing conditions on the way in. All right, continuing our brief here. NOTAM wise, let's take a look at our NOTAMs here at the bottom of the release. Here in Chuuk, runway 22 Pappy's out of service, and the inlines are out of service. That is not going to affect us. I think we're going to probably get the ILS into Guam, so ILS 6 left more than likely. Circling Cat D not authorized. That's fine. That shouldn't really affect us. Looks like taxiway Delta is closed. 6 left. Approach lighting system out of service. That's good to know. That's all the way through 30th of September. So I guess in real life you could not fly the ILS 6 left. So we will fly the ILS to 6 right, because it looks like 6 left is closed for construction. There we go, right there. So we do not need to plan landing on 6 left. So we'll plan 6 right. That's a good notice to airmen to note. Also, North Taxiway Charlie Foxtrot Midfield Taxiway Bravo closed for construction. So we'll look at that on the way up there. Runway 6 right, ILS DME unusable, 15 degrees right of course. Alright. And Saipan is our alternate. And I looked through these NOTAMs earlier. Nothing that should prevent it from being a good alternate for us. Weather-wise, so en route weather, you can see there are some isolated thunderstorms, isolated embedded cumulonimbus from the surface up to 50,000 feet on the last third of our flight up to Guam. So we don't have radar available in Flight Simulator 2020 yet, so we'll just have to, there's really no good way to avoid isolated embedded thunderstorms. So we'll just have to be aware of that. In real life, that would be a problem. You probably couldn't go, especially at night, without a radar. But just so y'all are aware, that's the case there. Weather-wise, here at Chuuk, winds are. This is the most current weather we had. Winds are 110 at 6, 15 miles, scattered 1400, scattered at 30,000. Temperature 32, dew point 26, now temperature 283. We do have that set in our PFDs. As you can see, there's 1, 2, and 3. So 298.3 is set. And in Guam, winds currently out of the east, southeast, 10 miles, scattered 1600. Pretty close temperature dew point spread, 27, 25. So we'll have to keep that in mind. Visibility could drop. Good thing there's some wind. 298, 900 on the altimeter, and the forecast is calling for winds temporarily between around the time we get there. Variable 20 gusting to 28, 2 miles, heavy rain and thunderstorms, scattered 1200, broken 2200 cumulonimbus, overcast 10,000. So we could have thunderstorms in the area when we come in. So we'll definitely plan on that ILS to 6 right. And up at Saipan, gusty winds out of the south, VMC conditions, visual meteorological conditions, with a few clouds, the scatter clouds. Ceilings up at 4,000, and they also have showers in the vicinity in the forecast, and also some heavy rain showers. Visibility down to 3, broken at 1500. A little later this afternoon. So it's a good alternate though. For our taxi plan here, let me go ahead and turn off get the release out of the way for us. Alright, for our taxi plan here out of Chuuk, we will, just waiting on the Navigraph toolbar to open up for us. Here we go. It's going to be a very short taxi. We're going to runway 4, so we're basically going to turn around and back taxi runway 4, and We'll be taking off. It'll be left traffic out of here onto our course. I will have the heads-up display down to use. I've set it up for this, so we'll use that. And rejected takeoff plan, it'll be a standard abort criteria. So below 80 knots, we'll abort for a variety of reasons. Above 80 knots, we're only going to abort our takeoff if there's a severe engine fire or severe engine damage, or it looks like the aircraft will not be able to get or stay airborne. So only for very serious items. And we'll plan on coming back here to land, unless it's really serious and we need a longer runway. In that case, we'll go up to continue on toward Guam, where they have a 10,000 foot runway available at 6 right. For our departure clearance, it's as filed, which was on the release, but we're sparking 2,000. There's no air traffic control currently online here in this part of the world in VATSIM. So we'll just be broadcasting on common traffic advisory frequency of 122.8. Our initial altitude all the way up to cruise altitude of 36,000 feet. And it's going to be, stand by 1 second, I'm going to pull up the release on my tablet here. So it's direct to Chuuk NDB, then Dame, 1V, Guns, and the Guam International Airport. Total distance we're showing in the McDo is 551 nautical miles, and on our release we're showing 565. So that is pretty close. We've checked our nav status, all of our navigation equipment. It's good for going into the Class 2 navigation zones that we'll be experiencing out over the water today. And for our takeoff data, it's going to be flaps 1. It's full rated takeoff today, so 96.4 is what it's shown in there. Trim set at 5 or 4.97, and speeds are set V1 of 136, VR 137, and V2 of 140, and that's set in the speed bucket as well. Engine failure profile: if we lose an engine, we'll continue straight out to 3,000 feet, come back around here to land, or continue up to Guam if we absolutely have to. But I believe we'll be able to land here no problem, unless the weather really goes downhill. Terrain and obstacles: you can see we have some mountains down there to the south of us, so we'll be aware of those. There's also one pretty close by on the approach path to runway 4 if we do have to come back around to land, so we'll just keep all of that in mind. A few islands in the area, which you can see them out in the distance there, with kind of some, I think the tops are all below 1,000 feet out there as far as I know. In our transition altitude today, it's going to be 5,500 feet once again here out of Chuuk. So we will be transitioning over to 299 or 2 inches of mercury once we go through that altitude. ACARS is initialized and started. We're due out of here in just about 15 minutes to get in the air. So let's go ahead, let's get our APU started up so we can get all of the ground equipment disconnected. And while that's starting up, we'll go ahead and run our pre-flight checklist. Alright, it is, let's see, interior and exterior inspection complete, circuit breakers checked, nav and display switches normal and auto, passenger signs on, window heat on, engine bleed air switches on, pressurization panel set, pressurization mode selector auto, mode control panel set, oxygen mask checked, altimeters 29er 83 cross checked, flight and nav instruments are checked, warning and annunciator lights, they are checked, speed brake down, takeoff warning checked to close, engine start levers cut off, stab trim cutout switches normal, Fire warning checked. Radios and transponder set. Radar off. Rudder and aileron trim free and 0. Windows closed and locked. Flight attendant briefing complete. Departure briefing complete. Logbook and QRH is on board. Fuel required. 15.8 on board and 15.8 is what we're planning. So pre-flight check complete. Let's see if the APU generator is now up to speed and producing 115 volts, 400 hertz. That's good. It's been running for at least a minute now, so I'm gonna go ahead and switch this over to APU as a source. Let's get the ground power, ground air disconnected so we can get underway here. Let's go ahead and get the stairs released and let's get rolling. Look at us all. There they go. Excellent. And we'll get the bleeds over onto the APU now. Looks like the flight attendants have closed the door. That's good. I'm going to go ahead and lock our cockpit door also. And pushback check, please. Let's make sure, yeah, we do not have any fuel in the center tank. That's good. Just wanted to make sure of that. Get our B pumps on. And I think I'm going to try, we're going to have to do a little bit of a pushback. We're right here on this fuel farm equipment that Flight Simulator put right here for whatever reason. So I don't really want to taxi through that if we can help it. Alright, let's do a pushback check. Doors closed, hydraulic panel set, fuel panel set, flight deck door closed and locked, transponder is in transponder. Pushback check complete. Let's get our, I'm going to try better pushback again, or pushback express actually. I like better pushback, that's an X-plane though. Alright, let's see here. Flight deck to ground.
Go ahead, flight deck.
We will be ready shortly.
Roger.
We are ready for pushback and engine start. We are ready for pushback and engine start.
Roger. Release the parking brakes, please.
Brakes released.
Pushing back.
Are we cleared to start engines 1 and 2? Are we cleared to start engine 2?
You are clear behind, and you can start your engines at your discretion.
Stop pushback.
Pushback complete. Set parking brakes, please.
Parking brake set.
Roger. Okay, the tow bar is disconnected and the equipment is clear. We will see you on the left side with the pin.
You can disconnect and go to hand signals.
Thanks. Have a good flight. See you later.
Alright, I didn't, I still have it to where I don't have to press a button to push to talk for them. I probably need to set that up because it will hear everything I say. So if I start doing engine callouts, calling out checklist to do, it'll get really confused sometimes. So I tried to just be completely silent that time and it looked like it worked pretty well. Let's go ahead and let's start engine number 1 now. So to get started on 2, everything looks great on the startup. Here we go, N2. We have, there's our oil pressure. N1, EGT's good. And we'll get our light out going, or light up going in here in just a second. Once we get the N2 a little higher, starting to stagnate. Alright, there we go. And fuel flow, light up. Lights are out up here. Excellent. Let's set our heading bug to 041 for the runway heading. There we go. That's one thing I forgot to do during my pre-flight. Alright, start or cut out. EGT is staying nice and normal, and just waiting on that EGT to decrease. There we go. After start check, actually let's do flaps 1 and after start check.
United Airlines is a non-smoking airline. U.S. law prohibits tampering with, disabling, or destroying laboratory smoke detectors.
And watch your knees. Just make sure our cool, everything looks good. Alright, on the after start check, generators on, probe heat on, anti-ice, standard air conditioning panel set, recall checked, auto brakes, RTO, after start check complete, taxi check, flaps 1, 1, 1, green, takeoff speeds 136, 137, 140, set, thrust, full rated, plus 31, stab trim 4.97, flight controls checked, taxi check complete. Alright, here we go. Chuuk traffic, United 1956 Boeing 737 taxiing from commercial terminal to runway 4. Chuuk. Alright. And again, our very short taxi. I'll do a quick navigation briefing. So we are planning to take off runway 4, and it's going to be issue runway heading up to flight 360. We'll do left traffic back around to get on our course toward Demay, from Chuuk to Demay, which is about a 307 course. And it'll be standard abort criteria. Flaps are set at 1, speeds are 136, 137, 140s in the bucket. Flap retraction will be at 1,000 feet above field elevation today. We'll go to VNAV at that point. Heading mode at 400 feet. Alright, here we go. Looks clear left, clear right. We're just waiting on the flight attendants to let us know that they're ready for departure. And then we will continue our taxi onto the runway. Let's see if I can check with them here. Yeah, here we go. Cabin ready, check. That's what I need to do.
Are you guys waiting for departure?
We're putting some stuff away. We're almost ready to depart.
Alright, so they need a minute. I just don't want to wait on the runway if there's a problem. Okay, they're ready to go now. Here we go. And truck traffic, United 1956, back taxiing runway 4. Truck. Alright, so once again, it's clear on the left, clear on the right. I'm going to get the lights and everything on here. Let's go ahead and run the before takeoff check. Alright, runway position. It's 4 down there. We got 4 on the navigation display. So I hit the brakes there. Runway position is 4-4. Flaps 1-1 green. Navigation briefing complete. Takeoff warning checked. Takeoff auto throttle arm. Engine start switches continuous. Transponder TARA. Flight attendants notified and acknowledged. Before takeoff check complete. Well, it's nice to have such wonderful weather here today out of Chuuk. And we'll just do a quick turn around here at the end of the runway, and really doesn't sound like we're going to run into any other aircraft today. So I'm going to take this turn around with the left hand side, so to the right, that way I can clearly see the runway as we turn around. Alright, here we go. It's nice to have this tiller wheel to use. Alright, runway 4 on the pavement, and we're looking for that 041 heading. 10. Alright, runway 4 is verified. I have controls. Here we go, let me make our radio call. And Chuuk traffic, United 1956 is rolling, runway 4. Chuuk. Be departing the pattern to the northwest. Alright, what's that, 40% and 1. Engines are stabilized and tow. And 1 tow gun.
knots.
Check throttle hold, thrust normal.
Departing. Positive rate of climb.
Gear up. Heading mode. And let's start our turn back around here. Let's get a quick view outside the aircraft. Oh, that's cool. Man, this airplane knows how to climb. It is a great climber. And let's go VNAV. And once we get on our heading, I'll arm LNAV also. And flaps up. LNAV arm. After takeoff check. We'll leave the continuous ignition on for now. And LNAV's trying to, it's going to aggressively get us back on the course. That's fine. And Chuuk traffic, United 1956, departing the pattern to the west. Chuuk. Alright, there's our 250. Looks like pressurization's all doing good. Cabin's climbing normally. Excellent. So after takeoff, check flaps up. Landing gear up off. Packs auto. Engine bleeds on. Pressurization panel checked. APU start switches are still in continuous until we get above the cumulus clouds here. Towering cumulus and APU off. After start check complete. Alright, wonderful. I'm just going to keep hand flying for the next little bit just to get us around some of these buildups, just to keep the bumps to a minimum for our passengers in the back. And we're above the transition altitude. Let's go ahead and set that to standard. There we go. There's 10,000. I'll give the flight attendants bells. Flight attendants the bells, plural. And we'll do a speed intervention. We're going to keep climbing at 250 for now just to get above the clouds. I'm going to deviate slightly to the right. And then just to get around this build up, and we'll cut back on course. Go back to VNAV speed, which will be 315. Should start accelerating us. And I'm going to go ahead and arm the autopilot. Bring the HUD up. We don't need that down still. And we are underway to Guam. Excellent. Another beautiful, beautiful day for flying out here in the Pacific Ocean. All right, next fix is going to be 1P. So let's check our what our fuel status was going to be at 1P. Gonna pull up our let's pull up our release really quickly. Check that out. See what we were showing at 1B. 1B, we plan to have 13,542 pounds of fuel. So we'll see if that's what we get, what we have when we get there. Right now we're at 14,000, so it's gonna be pretty close. But we'll just keep an eye on our fuel. It's something that's always important to do when you're flying aircraft, especially when you're flying out over the ocean. You really need to make sure you have your fuel loads where they need to be. Last thing you want to do is run out of fuel out over the ocean for sure. I'm thinking we're only 5 miles from 1B. We're going to be ahead of schedule by probably about 400 pounds or so, because we're at 13.9 with, I mean, we'll be there in a few seconds, less than a minute. So we're cruising along already at 416 knots ground speed, just with a light quartering tailwind. Very cool. Well, we'll get a little music playing in the background for us. I think that'll be cool. And we're coming up to flight level 180 here in just a minute, which we can go ahead and get our climb items completed. The lights, go ahead and flip all of those to our climb and cruise configuration. We're going to go back to off on the ignition since we're above all of the clouds. They were just forming right off the island there at Chuuk, which makes sense. Don't need the logo lights on right now or the wings, so we'll leave, turn those off also. Altimeters are standard and cross-checked. Climb check complete. take a quick view. Quick look at the view from the back here. I think there's just enough time on this flight to where you could watch a really short movie. It's not a very long flight. I think I was showing gate to gate. It's only going to be hour 35, so not super long. These really are little island hops out here in the Pacific that United carries out. Really short little hops. Alright, I'm going to bring our distance out again. It's usually a good technique to be able to see the next fix that you're navigating to, so just going to have that showing. And we'll be doing a high-speed climb today. I know we were planned at a cost index of 80, so pretty high cost index, which means we're going to be moving along, which is just fine with me. These jets are made to go fast, so we might as well do it, right? Especially if our dispatcher's on board with it. You see we're at 13,300 pounds, so yeah, we were definitely a little above what we were planning on the way when we crossed our last fix at 1B. Yeah, so we're at about that 13. It's showing 14,000, so yeah, that's good. It's good to have a little bit extra. You don't want too much extra, but nice thing about this leg is since we took off at a weight that was below our max landing weight, I mean, we could have just gone right back into Chuuk if necessary, and no issues with the ride up. And we just have that one MEL to keep in mind. We do happen to go into icing conditions just to keep that right engine, the number 2 engine, above 60% N1. Cabin's climbing nicely at a rate of about 300 feet per minute, and our delta P, or differential pressure, is holding steady, just under 7. Cabin altitude's up toward 4,000 feet now. Let's check the cabin temperature in the back right now. It's showing a temperature, it's right about 70 degrees. That's nice and comfortable, so looks like we have the temperature set pretty nicely for the passengers and the crew. Check out somewhere really quickly, see if anybody's in the vicinity on VATSIM with us here this afternoon in the Pacific. Looks like, yeah, we're the only ones around. There's an aircraft flying. Here, I'll switch over so you all can see what I'm looking at here. Yeah, there's one aircraft flying from, what was that, Brisbane up to Narita, so that's a long flight. They've been airborne for 4.5 hours already. Pretty incredible. Yeah, you can see we're right here, May 1956, Chuuk up to Guam. And I don't think anybody else is planning to get to Guam around the time we are, so that's just fine. And this is a flight that United Airlines actually operates, as you can see here. It's United 154. And they actually were flying it in the last day. Here, let's pull it up and check it out. So you can see they arrived, this is 20 hours ago. And looks like they left 36 minutes late and got to Guam 25 minutes late. So they made up 11 minutes, that's pretty good. And when they flew this flight earlier today, they went all the way up to, wow, looks like they went over 40,000 feet, is that right? Wow. Wonder if they were trying to get up above weather. But, oh, filed altitude was 38,000 feet. So, yeah, they went a little bit higher than what we had filed. But, really cool. Alright, so our next fix is guns, 9,894 pounds of fuel is what we're planning there. I know for our, for going to our alternate, the Saipan, we need 2,779 pounds, and our reserve fuel is 4.5. So it's like 7.3 thousand. That's kind of that'll kind of be our bingo fuel, I think, today if the weather gets really bad when we're on our way up there. So we'll just see what the weather's doing. Let's just check out aviation weather really quickly. I think we can. We're using our aircraft's Wi-Fi, right? This is the tablet, so this is perfectly legal. Alright, let's see. Alright, I'll have the current weather up in Guam here. Official weather from Aviation Weather Center. So 0404Z, which is about 28 minutes ago. Winds were 110 at 15 gusts 20. 10 miles, scattered 1400. Still that really narrow temperature dew point spread, 27 and 25, and 29 or 88 on the altimeters. So I'm gonna go ahead and have that standing by on the altimeters, so we have that. Still forecasting the heavy rain, thunderstorms. So we'll see what it's doing when we get up there. Let's check out the radar out here in the Pacific. I believe this is Guam, right in this area. I think they have I know they have a radar. I don't know if the National Weather Service website is going to show the radar in Guam, but I think it's just going to be in the United States. So, but we at least were able to get the latest observation. We can look at satellite on this website, I know for sure. There we go. What is this? Visual search. Huh. But a lot of clouds in the area between where we were here in Chuuk. And you can see, yeah, just like we were saying in that briefing, the last third of the flight, a lot of embedded thunderstorms out there. And it said the tops could be all the way up to 50,000 feet, so well above our cruising level today. So we'll be mindful of that, keep an eye out on our way up there. You can see the clouds are starting to increase out the window. And so we have a little island coming up off the nose here. Or actually a couple islands, look at that. Cool. We've just been slowly making our way across the Pacific in these island hyperlegs. The only leg I did not broadcast was the longer one from Honolulu to Majuro. That's the first leg. But I figured that that was a leg that maybe be a long time. I think that those longer legs, I'll probably only do that if it's a very special day. Like we happen to reach 500 subscribers, yeah, I'll do something like that. Or if the channel reaches 1,000, yeah, that'd be a cool thing to do. But just now got back into the content creation after a little bit of a sabbatical, and I'm happy to be back. If there's anything that you all would like to see on a live stream for certain destinations, certain flights, certain aircraft, just let me know. I'd be more than willing to check that out and give it a try. Because I'll typically stream on Friday, try to stream on Friday evenings. Right now it's probably going to be later at night if you live in the United States on the East Coast. So after about 10:30 p.m. Central. And then sometimes on Saturdays or Sundays, might be able to do one in the afternoon. But due to my current commitments and responsibilities I have in life outside of simulating, late nights are about the only time I can do it. Let's see if I can, there we go. Just have a slow, high-speed climb going here. Well, there's another little island off to our west. Yeah, we're primarily flying. We're flying northwest on this leg up to Guam. So away from the equator. I don't think we ever made it into the southern hemisphere on this. Actually, I know that we've never made it into the southern hemisphere on this little island hopper series that you all been riding along on. We've all been doing together over the last week. I will say one thing I really look forward to seeing implemented here in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 is the ability to have weather radar on board, because right now you can see everything. It's labeled in op in the PMDG. That's because there's no way for them to implement it. I mean, that's the one thing that's cool to have in X-Plane 11, like when I applied the Zebo mod 737-800. But we'll, I'm sure it'll be implemented here in the near future. That's something that's just too important in aviation, is to have that weather radar, especially when you're flying around convective activity and in airline ops. You're going to be doing it quite a bit just because people have to get where they need to be. Or if you're flying cargo, packages, mail, it has to get where it needs to be. Alright, Flight 360 for Flight 360. Or Flight 350 for Flight 360. Let's check out our pressurization really quickly. So cabin's still climbing pretty slowly, about 100 feet per minute, and delta P, our differential pressure is at about 8. Cabin altitude's a little over 7,000 feet now. And autopilot is waiting on it to acquire. There we go. Leveled off at flight level 360. Perfect. Showing 11,500 pounds at our top of climb. Let's check out our release really quickly and see what it was showing that we were planning to have. So release was showing top of climb fuel at 12,056. Let's see, the distance from Guam was at 460, and we are currently showing, see how far away are we from Guam. Let's go to the progress page here. 390. So I'd say we're still a little ahead of schedule, more likely. When we get to guns, we'll have a better idea of our fuel situation. They're projecting us to have 10,200 at guns, or the MEC2 is flight management computer, and we were planning 9,894, so 99. So it's about 300 pounds ahead of schedule. That's good. So we have about 300 pounds extra fuel. We'll take it. I must admit, I kind of wonder, like, so I do have the add-on that has global shipping, and I kind of wonder if there are any shipping lanes out in this area at all that we would maybe see a glimpse of a ship. I'm going to switch outside the aircraft really quickly, so watch your ears. I'm not sure how much louder it will be on your end, but here I go. And I just want to see what the surroundings look like. If we spot any ships down below. Nope, didn't spot any. That's a cool shot. Alright, now's we'll go ahead and turn off the seatbelt sign for a bit. Make a quick announcement for our passengers also in the back. Here we go. And ladies and gentlemen, quick update from the flight deck. We have reached our cruising altitude, flight level 360. Go ahead and turn off the fasten seatbelt sign really quickly. You're now free to move about the cabin. However, we do ask that when you are seated that you have your seatbelt securely fastened. Showing just about a little under an hour left en route, and we'll give you an update before we start our descent to Guam. Welcome aboard, sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight. Well, leave that seatbelt sign on auto actually. That way it'll come on if something happens where we something crazy happens and we just forget to turn it back on. I'll tell you, I can't wait until PMDG gets the electronic flight bag added to the 737 here. That'll be really nice. I think especially flying in VR, because you can, I'm sure you'll be able to get your sim brief release on here and Navigraph charts right there on the EFB. However, it's not bad having the Navigraph charts here in the pull down menu. That's really nice. Speaking of which, here's our updated position in Navigraph. So we're almost halfway there to Guam. It's really not that long of a flight. It's just scenery mostly consists of ocean, which that's fine. And no stars into Guam. It looks like they're serving some snacks and drinks. That's nice. Hopefully they get through everybody before we begin our descent, which looks like we are about 240 miles out from top of descent. Yeah, 250 according to the cruise page. So that should be plenty of time, I would think. To get everybody served. Well, I'm going to go ahead and start calculating some of our targets for the descent to the airport. I'm going to put the fixed rings in because that's always a nice thing to have, especially when there isn't a star into the airport. It just isn't another visual tool to help remind me that it's time to descend in case I get distracted or just forget about it completely for whatever reason. So we're at 36,000 feet. We want to be when we're 30 miles out from Guam International. We want to be at 10,000 feet. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to set that target in the fixed page. So Papa Golf Uniform Mike, that's the airport identifier, and I'll put 30, slant 30 to correspond to the distance there. And then if we need to lose 26,000 feet from 36,000 down to 10,000, we multiply that altitude to lose in thousands by 3, so that's going to be 26 times 3, which equals 78. And then I'll add another 5 to that to account for slowing down. So it's 83 plus 30, that's 113 miles out from Guam International. So I'm going to put that in. One slant, 113. So there we go. So we have 211 miles until we begin our descent. According to that. That type of descent right there, that's going to be calculating a slightly different target than obviously what we are. It's going to give us a little more of a buffer on the way in today. And we are going to be planning the ILS to runway 6 right, as we said, because of the six right, because 6 left is closed for construction. I know the simulator will be open. Looks cool. We'll pretend like we have some of those real world NOTAMs to contend with, just to make it a little more fun and realistic for us today. Well, I'm gonna have the flight attendants are almost done serving snacks and drinks. As soon as they're done, I'm actually gonna request a drink, and I'm gonna have it up here in the cockpit, which means I'm gonna go to my fridge and grab a drink. but I'll wait till the flight attendants are done here in the back. Thankfully, it looks like the passengers are pretty satisfied today at 98%. That's good. The weather certainly has been cooperative thus far. Alright, looks like the flight attendants are done with their service now in the back. I'm going to go ahead and ask if they wouldn't mind bringing me a drink. Here we go. Okay, got confused. It just replayed. Okay, well, I'm just gonna go grab a drink. Be out of the flight deck for just 1 second. Be right back, please.
Got it.
Alright, back aboard now. Back up in the flight deck at least. We're definitely getting closer to guns. Only 36 nautical miles out, so projecting a 4:58 Zulu arrival, so 5 minutes from now. We'll have to check our fuel when we get there to guns. The flight computer was forecasting us to be about 300 pounds, arrive with 300 pounds of extra fuel, so we'll see if that's the case when we actually get there. Ground speed's up at 467 knots, that's pretty nice. Not too shabby. Alright, looks like we do have some high level clouds starting to make their way into our area, so let's take a look at the check out some of our pages here. Just look around, explore the Alright, there we go. So our saturated air temp is negative 47 outside. And when we're below negative 40, we do not need to turn anti-icing on unless we have, so it becomes obvious ice is on the aircraft, or accumulating on the aircraft. But yeah, so nothing's required at this point regarding turning on the engine anti-ice or any of that. So that's good. Very good. And everything's looking good with our required navigation performance. That's good. So with the GPS, everything's being received properly. Fuel temperature is down to, oh, what is that? 14 Celsius now, so it's cooled off quite a bit. That's good. Yeah, I'm just gonna, I guess we'll begin our brief for our arrival into Guam here shortly. I'm just gonna try to wait a few more minutes until we get the latest weather out, weather report out from Guam. So, should be any minute now. Typically, like, they'll come in at 52 past the hour. So let me check our, check the aviation weather website, see if it's out. Be curious to see what's changed since the last time we looked at it. Yeah, they still have not come out with the updated weather report, so that is fine. Still no sign of any ships down there on the Pacific. I didn't even see, do we have some contrails coming out the back? I'm gonna go outside really quickly. Nope, no contrails. Oh, there they are. Yep, there are contrails. They just were camouflage. Those high level clouds we just passed by. Oh, there's a pretty good jolt. Looks like it was just a one-time thing though. Okay, we're looking good. So didn't know if we needed to change our altitude. Soon I might turn on the seatbelt sign. Looks like we're getting into that area of embedded thunderstorms that we were expecting in the final third of the flight. So far it's looking good. Definitely maybe some clouds up ahead in that area where the embedded thunderstorms might be. I'm just doing a little reading over here on some of the doing a little reading on the 737 systems. But if any of y'all get on board, feel free to talk up in the chat, and I'd love to have a conversation. But we'll get started on our briefing for the arrival and approach here in the next probably 5-10 minutes. But I might chime in a little bit if I see something that's of particular interest. And the manuals over here. Whoa, there's another pretty big bump. I think I'm gonna seat the passengers down here. It's getting a little, I don't know what's causing that exactly, but we're starting to get a few little bumps. Wouldn't want anybody to get hurt. So let me pull it up in PackX here and do a quick announcement. And ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck, we are going to turn the fasten seatbelt sign back on. Expecting a little bit of turbulence off and on for the remainder of this flight, so please return to your seats, remain seated with your seatbelt securely fastened. We'll give you an update here in a few minutes when we begin our descent. Thank you. Alright, well, let's go ahead and get our, let's check again on the weather, see if we got the weather update. Excellent, just came out. So here, let me switch over so y'all can see what I'm looking at here. Alright, so Guam International weather winds are, here we are, so I'll be reading right here, the highlighted portion. Winds are, it was at 0454 Zulu, winds 110 at 12, gusting to 18, 10-mile visibility, scattered clouds at 1,600 feet, temperature 28, dew point 26. There's still a pretty narrow temperature dew point spread, and 29.88 on the altimeter. Forecast, everything's still the same there. And looks like the weather's, it's holding pretty nice. Probably just gusty winds off to the side, the runway for us. All right, I'm gonna turn, gonna run and get us some performance data out of the Top Cat. From the Top Cat program. So, let's see. Here in landing, we just update the weather. Runway condition is dry. They do have, double check that they have grooved runways there in Guam. Yes, the runway, I'm sorry, no, looking at Chuuk there. Pull it up here on my, actually I'll pull it up for you all to see too. Let's see if the runways are grooved in Guam. That's something that we need to check since there are rain showers forecast in the area, because if needed we'd want to just run that wet performance data just to double check, even though we should have plenty of runway with it being a 10,000 foot runway, but do need to calculate it just to make sure. Alright, there's a 10.9 alpha page. This is where we're going to see if it's grooved or not. So we're landing on 6 right like we said, and it is showing grooves, so that's good. Perfect. I guess I should put the departure stands there. Alright. So let's get our performance data like I was saying. There's Top Cat. And we're planning to land runway 6 right, like we said, 10,014 feet. Elevation's at 231 feet. Flaps, we'll plan flaps 30. So it's showing our VREF speed at flaps 30 at 128. And the approach speed was showing at 137 there. Landing distance required is 42.82, and we have 10,014 feet, so plenty of runway. I'm actually gonna run the landing report here. I don't believe you all can see that because it's a window thing. Sometimes it gives us a little bit of extra info. It will give us the we'll give you the landing distance with the auto brakes. So that's 49.97 at auto 3. We're gonna land with auto 2 today since we have plenty of runway. And that's 6,303 feet. Alright, excellent. Well, that all is looking legit, set. Let's set that in the MEC2 here. Let's go over to menu, FMC actually, init ref, index, approach, flaps 30, slant, ref was 128. Cool. And wind correction, we're showing it at 9. Alright, so we have that set, and now we can go ahead and brief up the approach. So I'm going to pull up the approach plate really quickly. Navigraph. We're getting into that final third of our flight now, so this is the area that the embedded thunderstorms were forecast to be in, so we'll need to be Heads up for that. You can see we have a few little upper level clouds being simulated here in Flight Sim. So I'm gonna go ahead and set our, let's get the localizer 110.3 set for, actually we're not doing 6 left, why do I have 6 left? We're doing 6 right. 6 right. That's a threat. Gotta make sure you get the right runway in there. You don't wanna land on the wrong runway. Certainly happened. Alright, 6 right, so 110.9. Go ahead and make that active in the left RTU and the right RTU, radio tuning units on the first officer and captain side. And our decision altitude is 603. So I'm going to set that barrel window down here in the PFT. 603. Almost there. Alright, perfect. There we go. 603 is set. And that final approach course is going to be 063. Let me get that set on both of the course windows here. Alright. Yeah, I'm actually going to plan on parking at the same gate that United Flight parked at yesterday. Let's see, they arrived at gate 16, so that's what we're going to be planning today is gate 16 up in Guam. So that's the only other thing I wanted to check on here. Alright, so we're planning our approach Guam International 7th February 2011-2 ILS runway 6 right. Localizer set 110.9, both radio tuning units. Final approach course is 063, set both course windows. And let's go ahead and get the legs here and the FMS, or the Mech 2 actually. I'm actually gonna plan, I think, the Volop intersection as our initial approach fix, just to keep us clear of all this terrain and other things out here. There we go, let's get that. Alright, so right now we're going direct to Guam International. And let's go to the plan mode really quickly so I can get a good view of the fixes we're looking at. So we have Volop, and that's going to be 3000 is the at or above 3000. Then we have Memkey at or above 3000. Then Segmu, which is the final approach fix there, a localizer approach at least, at or above 2000. Runway 6 right, and then for the missed approach, that's climb to 2,100, then a climbing right turn to 3,000 direct Nimitz VOR. Okay, that's, yep, and then on Iowa to Memkey and hold. And that all matches here in the Mech 2. For that hold in the they were showing Memkey 063 inbound, right hand turns. That matches up with what's on the approach plate. So that all looks good. So it's back to map mode. About to begin our descent here shortly. Said the ILSDA is at 603. That's set. We need 3/4 mile visibility. We have 10 miles being reported right now. Airport elevation is 305. Touchdown zones 2858. Pressurization is set. We have 350 in the window, so we should be depressurized when we touch down. The minimum safe altitude, minimum sector altitude is 2,300 to the north, 2,600 to the south of Nimitz VOR. Already briefed the published mist. use the IAWD DME when on localizer course. So that's a separate frequency that we would use. So I might actually just, we got that set in. Okay, perfect. And what other notes do we have that apply to us? BGSI and ILS glide path not decided. Okay, good. That's fine. This recommended altitudes has obstacle. It's terrain. 1,313 feet to the south of the localizer. We get the runway in sight. It should be a PAPI on the right side, and miles are lighting. If we get to land on 6 right, it will be a left-hand turnoff. Likely we'll get off at Echo, or maybe even Golf, and we'll have to get clearance to cross 6 left, which is closed in real life. There could be people trying to land on it at VATSIM, I suppose, if we do happen to get a controller that comes online. We'll just have to see. And looks like they have a caution for wildlife in that area. I wonder if it's some of those crazy, I wonder what sort of wildlife. I know they have those really crazy snakes in Guam, those brown snakes that are always everywhere. But anyways, if we cross at Golf, it'll be a right turn at Kilo on the other side of the runway. Parking at gate 16 today in the civil terminal. So that is, that's the briefing. I think we're ready to roll. And we'll begin our descent here in just a minute. We'll set 10,000 feet in the altitude window. And 10,000 is set. See how far away we are from the, yep, it's time to begin our descent. We're a few miles past. Here we go. I'm gonna go down at 2,500 feet per minute because we're going approximately we're going 462 knots over the ground, multiplied by 5. Just gonna round up 2,500 feet per minute, especially since we're already a few miles behind. And look, just as forecast, look, the clouds have formed right up. So we're gonna need to keep a close eye on engine 2. That N1's going to need to stay above 60% if we get down into icing conditions, which is definitely a possibility. So I'm actually going to keep an eye on our progress page. On page 2, you'll get the outside air temperature. See, we're at negative 42, so 2 more degrees of warmth, and we're in icing conditions if we get into these clouds. So we'll just have to keep an eye on this. Right now it looks like we're descending with 72%. We actually kind of need to increase our descent rate a bit, so I am going to go ahead and increase the descent rate. Looks like, okay, now we're in icing conditions. We're at negative 39 on the SAT, so, and we're about to get into some clouds. We'll keep an eye on it. Probably need to turn our engine anti-ice on soon. We'll go ahead and do it so we don't forget. There's 1, there's 2. Valves are in the commanded position, open. So we'll just need to keep an eye on this N1 on the number 2 engine. Here in Guam, we should be able to get that 9th stage bleed valve repaired on the right engine, and we'll be able to operate normally. But yeah, Chuuk, we did not have the parts or mechanics signed off to make that repair. So I'm going to set the auto brake to number 2, as it should be. I forgot to do that during our performance landing distance assessment. Well, appreciate everyone who is watching today. It's been a pretty smooth flight so far. Nothing too crazy out of the ordinary going on, which is good. The only kind of weird thing we have going on is that ninth stage bleed valve failure on the right engine. But that's something we knew about on the ground at Chuuk, so it's just something that was written up the previous leg. And we're almost out of icing conditions already. See our total air temperature's at +5, so if we get to above +10, we'll be out of the icing conditions on the descent, which would be good. Our green banana bar is showing us getting to 10,000, just a little past that 30. I'm gonna try to increase our descent rate just a bit. Looks like I'm trying to gauge where we are with the cloud heights and everything. Looks like we have one towering cumulus cloud up ahead. I'm gonna wait till we get past that, then I might try to increase our descent rate just a bit. And it looks like once we get past that, we might actually be out of icing conditions for a little while too. We're already at a TAT of +10. See, there's 11. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the engine anti-ice, especially since we have that deferral and the high pressure bleed section. We don't need the engine expecting to get that bleed air from the ninth stage, and it's not able to due to the valve being stuck closed. Oh, it's looking beautiful now. Okay, let's increase our descent rate another 200 feet per minute down to 3,000 feet per minute. And yeah, it's looking good out there. I don't see any thunderstorms. Maybe some rain showers at about our 12 to 12:30 position, but nothing too bad. This is the first time I've ever flown out to Guam in a flight simulator, and it'd be cool if they had controllers on right now. I wonder how often the controllers do make it on out here in Guam. I just have no idea. Just don't spend enough time out in this part of the world in flight simulator. Do a quick check of our of the weather in Guam. Yeah, right now it's 3:23 in the afternoon in this part of the world. Yeah, weather's still reporting the same, 2988 on the altimeters. Get that standing by. The other thing I didn't brief was the transition altitude. That's something that's always pretty important to keep in mind. You know, it's back to flight level 180, so make sure we get that back here in the performance page. There we go, 18,000 feet. So it's time to switch over. Let's go ahead and do our descent check and flow. Assume we're already cleared to land. I'm just gonna go ahead and turn on the continuous ignition since we're gonna be flying around of a lot of these rain showers. Flight Sim doesn't always do the best job of modeling the thunderstorms visually, so they could be actually thunderstorms too, for all I know. Got our logo light on, wing light on. Recalls checked. Our brakes, auto brakes are all set up. And I actually need to set the HUD up really quickly. The heads-up display. Touchdown zone's 256. Get that in, and the runway length, like we said, is up at 10,014 feet. Oops, not 20. Well, let me try this again. 10,014. Perfect. There we go. Alright, descent check. Altimeters 2988. Cross checked. Minimums Barrow 603. Landing data 3128. Approach briefing complete. Auto brakes 2. Seatbelt sign on. Pressurization panel set and recall checks. Set check complete. Be in the back for just a second so with the give our passengers the quick rundown for our arrival. Be right back. And ladies and gentlemen, quick update from the flight deck. We have begun our final descent into Guam International. Should have you on the ground in just about 10 minutes. Looking at an early arrival this afternoon. Current weather in Guam, winds out of the southeast, about 15 miles an hour. Partly cloudy skies and temperature of 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Once again, thanks for choosing to fly with us here on United Virtual. It's been our pleasure having you aboard, and we look forward to seeing you again on a future flight. Thanks. Alright, there's our 10,000 foot altitude. We're going to be descending down to 3,000 next. So I'll set 3,000 in the altitude window, and we actually need to level off so we can slow down. Thankfully we're out of icing conditions. You can see how if you were in icing conditions and you had this deferral, it could be an issue trying to slow down. You got to keep that at 60% and 1. There are some thunderstorms. I can clearly see them now. Looks like just to the north of the airport. So that'll be that would be something to keep in mind if we did have to divert to Saipan. But I think we're alright. I'm gonna go ahead and do begin our descent now. And I'm going to switch this to heading modes. Make a call on the radio here in Guam. And Guam International Traffic, United 1956, Boeing 737. 20 miles to the east, inbound to land runway 6 right. We'll be, we're on an extended right downwind to enter the ILS 6 left, Guam. Alright, give the flight attendants bells in the back. There we go. Alright, looks like we're going to be intercepting the localizer outside of Memkey. So that's looking good. I'm just going to try to keep us away from some of these build-ups, keep the ride a little bit smoother. We do have pretty good control of our where we want to go, since there's no one manning the tower here in VATSIM right now, which is fine. Looks like I'm making out a little bit of land here out the window. That's cool. It's always exciting to see some land when you've been flying over the water for over an hour. Definitely those thunderstorms built up north of the airfield. just gonna keep our speed up too, because I mean honestly we got to get out to probably around Memke before we'll be at a good altitude to intercept the glide slope. So keep up our 250 knots till we level off, then I'm going to slow us back to 200 knots, and we'll make our way over to the localizer course. Plan to be at 180 knots and flaps 5. We're intercepting that, and then we'll continue with the flap extension schedule. Gear down at 1.5 on the glide slope and get to final configuration of our flaps and our airspeed before we get to our seg move. So that's my plan. Also, don't really want to spend too much time bumping around in the clouds today, so I'm not making a really crazy effort to get down too soon. It's going to be bumpy down there, gusty winds, and especially with us flying, you can see they're kind of low clouds. It's a little more than scattered, it looks like, at least in this area, so definitely do kind of need to be doing the ILS, it appears. But not a bad day. It's just going to be pretty muggy. But it's cooler than it was in Chuuk, that's for sure. See if I can help us split the gap here between these two clouds coming up. I'm going to reduce our vertical speed for just a minute. This is the type of stuff you do in real life, because it's these small things that make a big difference in passenger comfort. Just staying out of the cumulus clouds in particular, they get really bumpy. So when you do have the freedom to kind of get around clouds, which does happen at a lot of airports, you know, when you're not at a really busy airspace where they'll keep you on. They'll be a little stricter about staying on specific headings and such, but I'll start level change down. Okay, actually, let's switch back to vertical speed. Level change is being a little wonky right now. Slow us back to 240 just to give us a 10 knot cushion for that flap retraction speed, or flap extension speed actually. Alright, looks like we're starting to get where we'll be outside Memke. I'm actually going to change our MEC2 here. We'll get Memke, and intercept course is going to be 063 to Memke. I'm going to execute that, clean it up a little bit here in the navigation display. So that's our plan. And we're about 10 miles out now, so let's slow us to 200 like I said. Got that set. And I'm just going to try to get us around this next, in between these two clouds. We'll make our right hand turn just on the other side of this cumulus cloud here, just to try to keep the bumps to a minimum for our passengers. Alright, here we go. And 4,000 for 3,000. And let's see, is the localizer was going to be 110.9. It's still not quite coming in or being identified yet. maybe, I think it said, what was it, 15 degrees right of course. It wouldn't pick up correctly from what we were looking at in the NOTAMs during our brief. And maybe they have that model in here, I don't know. Do not know. Alright, let's go flaps 1. And it's not going to let us capture the localizer. Obviously, until it comes in. Joseph's Aviation, hello, how are you doing this? Well, it's morning now where I am, very early morning, but hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining in just in time for our landing here in Guam. Looks like we are picking up the localizer now, so I'm going to go ahead and arm that. And once I know we're captured on the localizer, then I'll arm the approach mode. It's just a technique just to make sure we don't start descending before we're technically on a published approach segment. Alright, let's go flaps 2. And I'm going to slow us down to 180 knots now, as we just briefed. And flaps 5. Alright, localizer is listening here. We're not getting the identifier. Not that I can really hear it. There's not a good way to adjust the volume of the... I hear some Morse code in the background, but I can't hear it over all the engine noise and other things. I mean, in the real plane, you know, you can turn the volume up and get it really loud where you can hear it clearly in your headsets, but I want to turn this in just slightly to make it even easier for the autopilot to intercept. Looks like localizer is alive, so we should be capturing any second now. Alright, and we are at about a 15-mile final. And Guam, International Traffic United 1956, 15-mile final, runway 6 right, Guam. Okay, so we're captured now on this. I'm going to arm, we're captured on the 6 right localizer. Approach mode is now armed. There we go. Let's do the approach checklist. Flight nav instruments are verified, and we're showing 110.9. Which is good. Cabin notification complete. Altimeter is 2988 cross-checked. Approach check complete. And glide slope's going to be alive here shortly. What a beautiful view out the front window there of the shoreline of Guam as we come in. Really a beautiful looking place, I must say. Joseph's Aviation, can I do a roll? Can I? Yes. Yes, I can. And yes, you can hear the Morse code in the background. Good. Yeah, me too. And from what I'm making out, yeah, it seems to be the correct frequency. Alright, glide slope is now alive. Let's go flaps 10. We're going to slow back to 160 knots. And there's a dot and a half. Gear down. And flaps 15. Let's bring the HUD down. Definitely an ILS approach today. Definitely an instrument approach to get into this runway. There's A3. And let's go ahead and we'll start slowing it back to our approach speed of 137. There we go, set that in the speed bucket. Alright, flaps 25. Yeah, you know, I haven't tried a roll in the the PMDG 737, but I'm sure it is possible to do one of those Tex Johnson type rolls like he did in the 707 prototype, right? All right, let's go flaps 30. And landing check, landing gear down, flaps. Move this over to approach. Flaps 30, 30 green.
25
And speed brake. Let me get that armed. Let's do that really quickly. There we go. Speed brake armed, engine start switches continuous. Landing check complete. So our published miss was going all the way up to 3,000 feet. So that's set, and it'll be a right turn around. So I'm going to go ahead and set our heading bug to get us started on that turn. There we go. Guys, oh, no worries, Joseph. Chat glitch, that's just fine. All right, you can see we are in hard instrument meteorological conditions right now, and we're about 1,000 feet above our decision altitude. So this is a pretty fun approach. And look at how bumpy it is. Hopefully everybody's feeling okay in the back. And Guam International Traffic United 1956, Boeing 737, 5 mile final runway 6 right, Guam. Oh yeah, it's looking little bit cloudy out here. I'd say it's more
1,000.
mostly cloudy than scattered or few, like I was saying. So Joseph, you flew a Cessna. Very cool. Very cool. What'd you think about that? Was it a fun time? Did you get to do a lot of like, was it your own personal Cessna you flew, or was it a flight with an instructor or a friend, or what type of flight did you get to do? All right, autopilot's coming off. I'm gonna hand fly from here. You can see these gusty winds kicking in. All right, we're just a little above the glide slope, so I'm flying down to there's 1,000. We're cleared to land. And Miss Bridge heading in altitude R set. What a beautiful approach this is. All right, reducing vertical speed. We don't want to be at over 1,000 feet per minute down here. Auto throttle's coming off now. Still about half a dot high on the glide slope. Coming back down, correcting.
Approaching minimums. 500.
And we're stable.
Minimums.
Runway in sight, continue. Yeah, weather definitely looks a lot worse off the end of the runway there.
200. 100. 50. 30. 20. 10.
Landing just a little bit long there. We're on the grounds. Here come the reversers. My rudder pedals are very sensitive, as you can see. I think the wind, I can feel the wind blowing at us too. There's 80 knots. Yeah, I think I'm going to try to take the next turn off here. Get us in toward the ramp. Yes, it was a discovery flight. Very cool, Joseph. I'm glad you got to do that. So, do you think it's something you'll try to do again? I mean, the flying, that is. All right, looks like okay. We got to cross 6 up. Oh yeah, look at the clouds now. Yeah, it's turned overcast here. And Guam International Traffic United 1956. We are clear of 6 right. and crossing runway 6 left at Guam. Had to see what the taxiway was there. Cool. Man, we got in here just in time. Weather sure is going downhill fast. Alright, once we get on the other side of the runway, we'll do the after landing checks and flow. Go ahead and start the cooldown timer for the engines. There we go. And flaps up, after landing check, please. Cool. Let's get all these lights off so we're not blinding somebody. Start up the APU. Don't need our continuous ignition anymore. More the wing lights. Speed brake, come back down, and transponder to transponder. Good, let's run the checklist. Engine start switches are off. Flaps up. Speed brake down and radar off. After landing check complete. So we're going to gate 16 today. That's going to be coming up fairly shortly. Let me pull it up over here. So Joseph, yes, you are 13, and when you're 17, you can get your license. You want to be a pilot? Awesome, awesome. Glad to hear that. Yeah, stick with it, man. So do you play Flight Simulator 2020 or X-Plane or any of the flight sims? Because I would say that is a great way to prepare for taking flight lessons. I did that, and it helped me immensely when I did begin my flight lessons. It really did. Okay, so 16 is the one right next to the end, so it's going to be right next to this United aircraft down here. But yeah, there are so many great tools now, Joseph, and available. Even if you use Pilot Edge, you'll be ready to talk on the radios too. I feel like that's a major hurdle to get past when you're first starting in aviation. So I would highly recommend Pilot Edge to you, and that's coming from someone who's spent a decade in the airlines, and you know what, many years before that, general aviation. Like Pilot Edge is something I wish would have been around when I was taking lessons. Okay. Here we are at gate 16. Turn off our taxi light here. And no marshalers, unfortunately. Womp womp. Hopefully, I wish you could, maybe with the Ground Services Act coming out, GSX, we'll be able to get marshalers at the gate we're planning to go to. Okay. So I'll stop us on the line. We'll be marshaling ourselves today. There we go. We're here. Let's set the park and brake. And get electrics transferred over to the APU. Frequencies at 400 hertz, 115 volts. That's good. Switch this over. And I forgot to turn off the taxi. Oh, I did turn off the taxi. Okay, good. Alright, shutdown 2, shutdown 1. Switch the bleeds over to the APU really quickly. Gotta fill out my ACARS report really quickly for United Virtual Airlines. Get the approach in here in the comments just so I'll log it. That was the ILS. The ILS 6 right. And wow, excellent. Got it. Submit. Alright, now I can finish my checklist here. Let's go ahead and get the chocks in. We can let the passengers get up. Set the chocks. Get some ground power. Get the air conditioner unit. We're going to be with a jet bridge now, which it's been a long time since we've had a jetway. With all the We need to get our baggage carts here, get all the bags off the aircraft. Alright. Let's do our checklist flow here. We need to get the anti-collision light off. Seatbelt signs come off now. And we can turn off the electric hydraulic pump since we have the chocks in. Transponder to standby. Alright, shutdown check. Parking brake is set. Fuel pump switches as required. We have that left aft on for the APU. Seatbelt sign off. Window heat off. Probe heat off. Anti-ice off. Electric hydraulic pumps off. Air conditioning panel set. Anti-collision lights off. Engine start levers cut off. And transponder standby. Shutdown check complete. Go ahead and unlock the cockpit door. And, yep, there we go. There's the jet bridge. The jet bridge is not there yet. Let's try this again. See if I can remember. Joseph, you flew RC and you have flight sims. Awesome, man. Which flight sim is your favorite so far? Curious to know which one you like. I kind of like X-Plane 11 and Microsoft Flight Simulator for different reasons. But you can't beat the visuals, I think, in Flight Sim 2020. Absolutely incredible. And yes, the chat is slow tonight. I've been having this stream at pretty late hours due to just my current family situation. We have a little one here, so I need to be taking care of her until she's asleep, and I can do some flight simming. Alright. Looks like the jet bridge is now connected. Excellent. Let's make sure, did the door open? No. Door did not open. Let's get the door, the main cabin door open. There. And let's get the baggage handlers, get the passengers off of the aircraft. Get the bags out of the cargo bins. There we go, and we are moving now. Get some cabin cleaning done, and look at all this cool stuff you can have done in the PMDG. I love it. Yeah, but Joseph, so yeah, thank you so much for subscribing, Joseph's Aviation. Glad to have you aboard. Yeah, if there's anything that you would like to see or anything you'd like me to put out content-wise, please don't hesitate to let me know in the comments, either now during this live chat, which is going to end pretty soon, or you can just comment on one of the videos. I'd love to provide anything I can. Also, I can point you in the right direction to some other places. Pilot Edge, if you haven't already checked out pilotedge.net, that is an excellent place to start. They have good resources on flying in both VFR, visual flight rules, and instrument flight rules, and get you really comfortable with airspace and talking air traffic control. So that's a great resource to check out once you're comfortable handling an aircraft here on Flight Sims. So you have Airsoft 2022. Okay, Airsoft 2022. All right. But best of luck to you, Joseph. Thank you so much for checking in. It's great to hear from someone that's just getting started in aviation. Wish you all the best. Stick with it. Study hard in school, especially math. I mean, that's going to really come in handy for you as you get into the cockpit. But for now, that kind of does it for our stream here today. Welcome to Guam. And this is the conclusion of the United Island Hopper series. We have now completed the full route from the east to the west. Obviously, they do turn around and go back. But thank you for joining Joseph's Aviation. special shout out to you. Appreciate you jumping in on this extremely late night stream for those of us like myself that are on the East Coast of the United States. And until the next time, which will probably be Friday night at the same time, 10:30 p.m. Central Time. Enjoy your flying. Stay safe out there, everyone. And I look forward to seeing you again in the friendly skies soon. For now, VREF Simmer signing off. Have a great morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it is, wherever you might find yourself here on planet Earth. Have a good night.